zero electricity, freezing temperatures, and a 3-year-old child dying of hypothermia. Pablo Escobar didn't hesitate. He unzipped a bag and threw $2 million of cold, hard cash straight into the flames, just to keep his daughter warm for one single night. Because for Escobar, $2 million wasn't money. It was a statistical rounding error. He made $420 million a week. He spent $2,500 a month just on rubber bands to tie his cash. And rats ate $2 billion of his fortune every single year. Every empire falls when it runs out of money. Escobar's empire was the only one in history that burned alive under the weight of its own cash.
He was the greatest boss this world has ever seen. Nobody on this damn planet will ever come close to Pablo Escobar.
To understand the scale of this insanity, you have to travel back to Miami in the 1980s. At that time, the Medellín Cartel supplied 80% of all the cocaine entering the United States. Every fifth line at parties in New York or Los Angeles carried Escobar's signature. The cartel's planes flew north packed with white powder and returned south, stuffed to the ceiling with raw U.S. currency. There was so much cash that counting it by hand became physically impossible. Escobar's accountants simply began weighing the boxes on industrial scales.
Each plane carried 600 to 700 kilos of cocaine. That was huge back then. A single kilo was worth $50,000. The amounts were insane, and that's when cocaine blew up worldwide. So how many planes used that strip? As many as we wanted. 10, 12.
Catastrophic problem quickly emerged. Where do you store tons of paper money? You can't deposit it into banks without attracting the DEA and financial intelligence instantly. So Escobar began hiding the cash everywhere. In basements, abandoned farms, hidden caves, and simply buried inside plastic drums deep in the jungle. And this is where the absolute absurdity begins. Every single year, the cartel wrote off exactly 10% of its income, which was more than $2 billion, for one simple reason. The money just rotted away, or it was eaten by rats. Imagine rats chewing their nests straight through millions of dollars in cold, hard cash. But Escobar didn't care. The money was flowing in faster than rodents could destroy it. However, when the Colombian government, backed by the U.S., attempted to wage war against him, Pablo proved that with his billions, he could buy literally anything, even his very own custom prison. In 1991, following a terrifying series of violent terrorist attacks, Escobar presented the Colombian authorities with a deal they couldn't refuse. He declared, "I will surrender and serve my time, but I build the prison myself, and my own men will guard me." And thus, La Catedral was born, the most insane correctional facility in human history. It wasn't a prison, it was a luxury 5-star resort. Inside, it featured a football pitch, jacuzzis, a fully stocked bar, billiard tables, powerful telescopes, and lavish master bedrooms. Top fashion models, Colombian national team football stars, and famous musicians were brought in without any restrictions. Escobar continued running his global empire straight from his executive prison suite.
I know this place inside and out. We, Pablo, and the entire team made the government construct this jail for us. We made them build an elite prison. I was the first guy inside. So we started arriving at the mountain, a strategic spot that Pablo Escobar selected very wisely. He knew if attacked, we could hold our ground from here. That was the boss's room right there, and mine was just behind it. That's where the boss was pictured behind bars at La Catedral. I spent 13.5 months in jail with him. We executed everything he requested. I eliminated people, and I managed the place. I was extremely loyal. I was a great worker. I never refused to carry out an order from the boss.
Yet his own paranoia and greed paved his downfall. Suspecting his top financial lieutenants of embezzling money from his hidden vaults, Escobar personally tortured and executed them right inside the La Catedral complex.
We chopped them into pieces and incinerated them. We had to do it inside the jail because outside, they could have paid their way free. They had millions. They were far too wealthy.
When the Colombian government uncovered this, a massive international scandal erupted. The president ordered the military to raid the facility and transfer Pablo to a real federal cell. But as special forces approached La Catedral, Escobar simply kicked out a back wall of his complex and casually walked away into the jungle with his armed guards. The most expensive and extensive manhunt in history had just begun. All of Escobar's foreign bank accounts were completely frozen. His sole lifeline for survival became his caletas, those very same plastic drums filled with cash buried deep underground.
Pablo Escobar had forever planned to break out of the prison. It was always in his head, so he had the breakout fully mapped out. There was a 10,000-volt, high-voltage wire running through the complex. In the boss's cell was a switch that could cut the power off. There was a low wall where the wire passed, and in one section of the wall, some bricks weren't mortared, just disguised with plaster. We knew the exact spot. I kicked down the bricks, and that's how we escaped. We scrambled up 200 meters. The army's spotlights were scanning around to spot us. When we reached down the mountain, it was around 11 at night. Because this is a unique area, at 11 p.m., that's when thick fog begins to descend. You can't see a thing 20 meters ahead of you. The troops and the Americans didn't know the terrain and quickly lost their way. They found it extremely tough to navigate with all their gear. The soldiers were dressed up like Rambo, with knives, rifles, heavy weapons, and complex small arms. We were just street bandits, so we moved effortlessly.
Escobar was now hunted not only by the Colombian police and US DEA agents, but also by Los Pepes, a ruthless vigilante group composed of rival cartel members and families of his victims. They burned down his properties, executed his men, and uncovered his hidden cash stashes one by one. The richest man on earth had turned into a hunted animal. He couldn't sleep in the same location for more than 2 nights in a row. His billions were trapped in damp basements and buried barrels, while he couldn't even buy himself a decent meal without drawing fatal attention. On December 2nd, 1993, Pablo made a fatal mistake. While on the run, he placed a phone call to his son and stayed on the line for too long. He simply missed his family. U.S. radio intelligence services intercepted and triangulated the signal in real time. Within minutes, the hideout was completely surrounded. Attempting to escape across the rooftops, Escobar took 3 fatal bullets. The man who once controlled billions of dollars died barefoot, wearing a plain t-shirt, collapsed on the dirty tiles of a Medellin roof. Following his death, his colossal fortune evaporated almost instantly. Enemies seized part of it. The government confiscated another portion, and billions of dollars remained rotting away inside forgotten underground barrels. To this day, Colombian farmers occasionally dig up old, decayed containers filled with disintegrated $100 bills. The story of Pablo Escobar is the ultimate reminder that money cannot buy absolute safety. He believed cash could purchase the entire world, but in the end, the fortress he built out of green bills burned to the ground, burying him under its ashes.
In that moment, did you want to kill everyone?
Yeah, in that moment, yes. The 10 first minutes, yes. And that's why 10 minutes after that, I called the press and I tell that I will never do anything to continue my father's steps. And that's the second threat, peace. And that's the only one that I've been living every day since then.
Talk about the greatest prize being anonymity. Why have you given that up?
No, I'm no longer hiding because I don't want to hide. I didn't kill anybody. I didn't do any harm to anybody. I'm not proud of his violence, but I am proud of his love for me, to me and to my mother and sister. And everybody's right if they want to love him, because he made some things that make you love him and some things that make you hate him. That's my father. I was willing to give my life for him. That's how deeply I love him.
Manuelo. No me dejo él. No me dejo él. Ey, dice, ey, antes yo no tenía nada, ahora me sobra el dinero. Antes yo estaba en la cola, ahora soy de los primeros. Ando en un carro Sport, rompiendo el millero. Ahora estamos mejor, antes estábamos en cero. Dios se nos